Jon Snow's chasing waterfalls, following Qhorin over ice-licked stones. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. And we're almost done with the Clash of Kings.
Yo, I already read Bran's last chapter. Full spoiler. Bran's last chapter. Oh, if you've never joined us before.
I'm Zach. This is Nate here next to me.
I'm just so excited.
He's already read Bran's chapter, apparently. And if you've already joined us before, you know we're full spoiler. And this is the warning at the top of the show. And Nate's a dumb fuck. Welcome if you're new. And also, we're full spoiler. If you don't like spoilers, go away now.
If you're coming back, what's up? Thanks for coming back. I'm Nate. Zach just introduced me.
You're
finally.
a mess.
No, I was doing that intentionally.
Oh,
yeah. So, anyway, now that you're done being a jerk, if you joined us last episode, we were reading Tyrion's last chapter of Clash of Kings. And it was a doozy.
Doozies.
It was a short one, though. And so Tyrion he was in and out of consciousness as he survived the battle of Blackwater.
Thanks to Pod.
My hero. You could be my hero, baby. I was reversing it. They're just words. Are you gonna?
No.
Well, you're a terrible person.
I didn't like that song.
Wow.
Tyrion, was in and out of consciousness, woke up to an unfamiliar maester taking care of him. He didn't like that at all, so he called for Pod. Told Pod to get a different maester, Maester Franken, and find Bronn, but we find out that Bronn had been made a lord, or a knight, not a lord.
A lord.
A lord.
Yeah, knighted, which, and he was given, wasn't he made the lord yet?
No, he was made a knight.
He was knighted.
Yeah,
My bad.
He was made a knight.
So he's a sir.
Yeah, he's a sir. And Tyrion says, well, find him and bring him, and Pod says, hey, okay. And then Tyrion gets a look at his freshly maimed face, which he's now missing a good 3/4 of his nose and a chunk of his lip.
Yeah, it's all sewed all haphazardly up, and so he's a mess.
Yeah, he's a mess, and he thinks that it must have been Cersei's doing. She wanted him to not return, and he tells Pod to tell no one of anything about Sir Mandon, that he's got a new game to play. And he also learned that his father is back and accepting his duties once more as Hand of the King, and so that's where we left Tyrion. This episode, we are picking up with chapter.
Yeah, and last chapter with Jon, I believe, was when he had let Ygritte go, but he was discussing that with Qhorin, and they were, on the move. But then Johnny had a little dream, a ghost dream, and he saw all the fucking wildlings, that's the word I'm looking for, down in the Milkwater.
Yeah, Valley of the Milkwater.
And they had
giants, mammoths.
Yeah, they'd been digging, and there was just a fuck ton of people. And so Jon explained that to the Night's Watch members that were with him, Qhorin and crew, and they were like, yo,
we gotta go.
The fuck. And so they were all on board with the fact that Jon was a warg, and then they were caught by an eagle man. That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Squire Dalbridge stayed behind to hold the pass as they continued their descent out of the Frostfangs, and
having been seen
trying
by the
to
Wildlings.
go fill in Mormont and what they've seen. And we pick up with Jon 8 with when the Halfhand commanded Jon to gather brush for a fire. Jon knew their end was near. As, if you will recall, fellow loyal listeners, Qhorin Halfhand has been demanding no fires the entire time they've been in the north.
Very against them.
Because fire is light and it draws things, and
which is the opposite of the Wildlings thinking. If we remember, the
right.
Wildlings
fire
said, no,
keeps
we need
things
the fire.
away. Yeah.
And so they're very for the fire.
And so Jon is thinking, if he wants fire and warmth, he knows that we're done. There's no sense in hiding.
But it will be nice to be warm again.
Fuck yeah. Jon thinks, hacking branches from a dead tree as Ghost sits, watching, silent as ever.
Of course.
He's playing Sentinel a lot in this chapter. And Jon wonders if ghosts will howl for him when he's dead, the way Summer howled for Bran when he fell. And he thinks also, will Shaggy Dog howl far off in Winterfell? Will Grey Wind and Nymeria, wherever they might be?
That's cool. Was he... I'm pretty sure I remember he was told that Lady was killed. It's not just some kind of weird inherent knowledge, like in the letter from like Ned or somewhere it came from.
Yeah.
That's some dark thinking, man, for a 14-year-old. I think he's 16 at this point, but I always lose track of that. We'll get corrected by one of our wonderful listeners.
I think it's interesting he's wondering if the wolves will mourn him more so than his brothers. Like,
I almost think it's this at this point because he's now kind of familiarizing with the war game.
Are these more of Ghost's feelings than Jon's?
I think it's kind of this bleeding over, which we'll see. It develop as Jon goes further, that relationship between the two of them. I think part of it is when he was referring to them, he's also almost referring to Rickon, Bran,
right, yeah.
Arya,
their counterparts.
Right.
So as Jon gets the first wisps of smoke and flames to begin rising, Qhorin approaches him and just comments on the fire, saying, "Sometimes a man forgets how pretty a fire can be, as shy as a maid." And
on a wedding night,
Jon wonders if Qhorin has ever, been with a maid, loved a maid, if he ever had a wedding himself.
Now, Jon Snow, who knows nothing, the little guy here, he just thinks it's odd to hear Qhorin talking of these kinds of things in general.
Yeah.
Like, Qhorin's not one for talk in general to begin with, and now he's bringing up those kinds of things.
Qhorin knows he's at the end of his line there, Johnny boy.
I think he's clearly been planning this since, like, the second that the fucking
I think this is why he brought Jon in the very first place, was for something like this. I think Qhorin went out into this mission not maybe knowing that they were going to need to infiltrate, but knowing they need men capable of doing extraordinary things. And
with his wolf,
he handpicked and then learned that Jon is compassionate. He won't just kill a captive just because they can't feed him. He'd rather let them go. And so I think he slowly, especially since their encounter at the Milkwater, learning Jon's a warg. I think that's
specifically when he made the decision that this is kind of how it's
I think it was when he found out Jon was a warg that he made the decision that Jon can infiltrate them. They will accept him as a warg because
that's special.
North, right? They use that. They have wargs. They employ wargs.
And we need more information than we have right now.
Jon is young enough. He's green enough to appear scared and easily bent
swayed,
and
unbent.
I think it was right when they left Squire Dalbridge behind. I think Qhorin was already thinking about Eben is going to be going to inform Mormont, and Stone Snake is going to help him for a bit, but Jon is sort of
and that's where it goes next anyway, is they kind of go into this cutaway where Jon starts revealing how the rest of them vanish, because we learn it's only these two left. And he had originally hoped that Squire Dalbridge would have been able to bottleneck them and keep the Wildlings at bay, at least long enough for them to get escape, you know. And that was not the case whatsoever.
Yeah, a horn told them that Squire Dalbridge had fallen very shortly after they had gotten out of the pass themselves.
Yeah, and they saw the eagle a couple times that day, and then from that point on, at dawn and dusk at least, they'd see it every single day.
And louder horn blasts behind them, the Wildlings keeping pace and essentially taunting them, just saying, like,
we're coming, we're on you. And so that night, Qhorin, he made Eben ride back to go to Mormont. Tell him, what you can. We'll draw the pursuit away from him. And Eben's like, nah, dude.
Send Jon.
And he
can go just as quick as I can.
He tells him, no, he has a different part to play. And he tries to, but he's a boy.
He's half a boy still.
No, he's a man of the Night's Watch.
He is a man of the Night's Watch.
And I think he's saying that because he understands that Jon carries the Stark honor, Ned Stark's honor, and he's set his vows.
He's of the North. He's got the wolf. He's got this crazy fucking connection with the wolf.
He knows that he's going to honor those vows, and and again, at this point, I think he's kind of aware since he discussed with Jon why he let Ygritte go, and since the learning of him being a warg, he's like, no, he's got to kill me. Like, that's how we get what we need here. We need to have Jon get to that.
Well, right, there's got to be a symbol of his loyalty, of his disservice to the Night's Watch, and what better case than giving him a head that they want, basically a bounty that they want.
A big one.
Right.
Yeah.
Qhorin Halfhand is a menace to the Wildlings, and so someone killing him is going to gain them big renown among the Wildlings, regardless of who they are, and so that could be Jon's in. And yeah, it's slowly the formulation of this plan,
Yeah.
where Jon doesn't realize it, but that's
Obviously.
what we're being shown here, is Qhorin is coming up with this plan, sending the other men off
and
in
accepting
whatever
his own
hole,
fate.
right.
And so Eben leaves he realizes,
As the
okay.
moon rose, right.
Yeah.
He left with the night.
And Stone Snake followed him to cover up the tracks as he was leaving, and
The three who remained set off to the southwest.
and after that, night and day blurred together as one.
They stopped only long enough to stop, feed and water the horses, and they were constantly watched by the eagle. Every dawn and every dusk they saw it. No more than just a speck in the sky, but still watching them. And eventually, a shadow cat came upon them one day, startling Stone Snake's horse, causing it to break a leg. Ghost ate well that night, and the Halfhand insisted that they mix some of the blood horse with their porridge to keep their
Horse's
strength.
blood?
What did I say?
Blood horse.
Jesus Christ. I even have it right in my notes. Some horse blood with their porridge to keep their strength up. Each cut a dozen strips of raw, stringy meat from the carcass and left the rest for the shadow cats.
Yeah, and so...
No. Hold on.
okay.
The mixing the blood in with the porridge?
Trojan paste.
Is it Jojen paste? Because this also felt very Dothraki to me with the horses.
So I thought about
and
the horses
strength.
too. That was something I was thinking.
Or so this is Qhorin's response to the trees having eyes, the old powers waking.
I don't think so at all. No.
No?
I think this specifically is the horse blood will add proteins, nutrients that can be gained, the things that you can get into the porridge just for that extra bit. I mean, maybe it's magically inclined.
They just have meat there, so why not just eat the meat
because
and
horse meat is
not choke down disgusting blood.
Well, because they can use the nutrients to add to their porridge. That way, they don't eat just the meat, and he won't use fires to cook.
Nah. Qhorin says
he's
magic's coming back. Everything is magic.
Okay,
everything
all
is
right.
Everything is magic. But having no mount, Stone Snake offers to lay in wait and surprise their pursuit. Maybe take a few of them to hell with me. And Halfhand refused that, saying that while on foot, Stone Snake can go over mountains that horses must go around, and no man is sure to survive the Frost Fangs better than Stone Snake. He tells him, make for the fist. Tell Mormont what Jon saw and how. Tell him that the old powers are waking, that he faces giants and wargs and worse. Tell him that the trees have eyes again. So all right, ladies and germs. Nate and I have talked about this mildly, as I was noting and getting excited. But we've heard all book that magic is coming back into the world. But all book it's come from slightly less than reliable sources. Zaro's own Doxus,
Helene,
the Pyromancer,
the Warlocks
of Karth. This is Qhorin Halfhand.
Shit, people.
Has been shown to not bullshit. He picked these men for this mission knowing that every single one of them could die.
And clearly every single one has served the purpose that he brought them along
and been ready to die.
Right.
Stone Snake proved it by wanting to lay in wait for pursuit. Squire Dalbridge proved it by laying in pursuit. Eben proved it by wanting to not run and stick with Qhorin and help. These were good men picked for a good mission. Qhorin knows what is going on with the North, the old power, and so
he's got knowledge. He had knowledge.
He's at least attuned, or has seen, or has felt.
So, Qhorin is half hands.
Qhorin is half hands.
Qhorin is cold hand.
No.
Because then he regrows his hand.
No.
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 All right. He is half hand.
Qhorin is now the most reliable person we have saying magic has come back
that's
into the world, and tell Mormont, the North is fucking popping again, bruh. Fuck us.
And, especially with him saying, the trees have eyes again. They're seeing.
The old powers, yeah.
And we've got Rickon looking through the tree, talking to Jon in the dream. All that shit, and he's specifically noting that. But it's wild, dude.
So, I lost my place. Jon thinks that he has no chance as Stone Snake disappears a small speck on the mountains over in the distance. And, God, that line more than anything really just cemented, he is a speck. He's got so far to go. The old powers are waking. They've got wildlings on their ass.
Others
out there, shadow cats.
Fucking, you name it.
He
what
does
else?
it. What chance does he have? one man against the wildness of the North. And, like, I really liked that Martin's just slipped in that, what seems like a very pessimistic line, but I think is actually just more realism. Like, he's on foot. He can't really move quick. Yeah, he can go over mountains and shit, but
he's got a ways to go.
Each night after that seemed colder than the night before, and Jon could always, while Ghost wasn't always with them, Jon could always sense his nearness and was glad for it. Qhorin didn't make the best riding companion.
So, since they called it out, like Qhorin, and called him the warg and all that shit, do you think his third eye has opened more? Like, I think he's accepting and embracing it?
I don't know if it's acceptance yet. I think there's still the stigma of skin changer.
So maybe it's
but
more,
I think he's aware of it.
He's kind of prodding with it.
There could be there is something there. There's a connection, and now it's opening up a little more, and he's like, yeah, Ghost is about 15 feet. Like,
that was always
way.
There.
I think it could have.
He just didn't. Now that
he
he's
wasn't aware of it.
Now he knows what that feeling
Whereas
is.
before it was, my feelings toward Beric, where, he has to look at me while he's eating his food for confirmation and protection that no one's coming at his food. And I, of course, think that means that he is my doting darling boy and
I take his food.
Loves me. But that's just, our connection. Jon, I think, was thinking of it like that, like a dog, like a pet. And now he's like, wait,
equal.
We have like a warg thing going
Yeah, you're
here.
like...
And so now he's just, I've got my spidey sense attuned to Ghost, and I know where he is. My Ghost tracker is pinging hard.
He was thrilled for that, because that at least gave him, like, he wasn't so alone.
Yeah, because Qhorin is a pretty shitty traveling companion.
He's pretty quiet. But, again, this is Jon's naivety. Like, Qhorin is prepping for death here. Like, he's looking at if there's any like, I don't think he's just decided, I'm going to die.
No. He's looking for outs. He's trying to find the best place to make their stand, how it has to happen. He's got to set that stage
if that's what's got to happen.
And he does. He's heading for the falls, where he knows they will be able to bottleneck them.
So they won't be able to just
come in and sweep over. He's forcing a conversation.
Right.
It's not just sweep over and kill the crows. It's we have to talk and give Jon the chance to infiltrate.
Right.
And so Jon, each time he slept, didn't dream. Not of wolves or his brothers. And he thinks that even dreams cannot live up here.
Yeah, what a sweet line.
Yeah, that's pretty foreboding.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... I don't know. It just feels like there's no... Like, up here, you don't get a chance to see what's happening. Like, you don't get a chance to get a glimpse ahead and see what's up. Like, you're in it. It's happening.
You're living in the now.
Right. Like, you're not privy to seeing what's going to happen, because I think in the North, there is no solid, it is going to happen. It's ever changing. Because that's where the powers seem to be stirring. Right.
Really,
and so I think there's no visions to be had about the North yet, because the North is so volatile and active and waking right now that... there's nothing to be seen, Jon. You're too far north of the wall to see any other wolves,
because I think it's
any
more
your brothers or sisters, or I think there's a disconnect there now with him and the others, and Ghost and the others, because they're north of that wall of magic, so I think there's interference. They can't feel them, and so I think that's part of the isolation Jon's feeling, is a little cut off, and I think that has to do with being north of the wall.
See, I think that the lack of dreaming is more from just the exhaustion here, because he does dream again here in a little bit when they're locked away in the caves and shit.
Right, in a weird split cave that seems oddly...
Yeah, maybe it's super magical or anti-magical.
Something odd. It almost feels like, I don't know.
Do you think the waterfall cleansed them?
It just feels like an olive branch. Like the North...
Here's this little oasis.
Like a room of requirement type thing. Yeah, like if you have the need and
you know
are
of
the North type thing, like you can make use of the land. And like the Wildlings do it all the time.
And they're completely aware of this, obviously, is how they get through there. But yeah, so where did I lose my spot at? Yeah, the dreaming. Yeah, even dreams cannot live. Oh yeah, so he asked Jon for the first time in this chapter,
chill around their fire,
if his sword is sharp. And Jon tells him, my sword's Valyrian steel. I thought of Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter musical. It's Valyrian steel. My sword's magic. Mormont gave it to me. Haven't you heard? Like, fuck you, John.
Yeah. Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow, is one of my favorite lines in the entire fucking series. Because it's Qhorin Halfhand wanting a quick,
Don't
clean,
make me suffer,
wanting
bro.
a quick, clean death.
Dude, a half inch of that blade.
You keep an edge on that thing, man, because it's got to go through my neck or my heart or something. So it's fucking amazingly impactful when, especially on a first read through, when you think he's just,
are you ready to fight?
Yeah, are you ready for the fucking battle that's coming? Because
Wildlings, man, we're
taking
gonna
a
have to kill 'em.
stand, yeah. And he asks Jon if he remembers the words of his vow, and Jon says he does. They're not ones he's like to forget. They change your life forever. And Qhorin says, "Say them with me again, Jon Snow." And Jon says,
If you like.
If you wish. And it says, together their voices blended as one beneath the rising moon, while ghosts listened and the mountains bore witness. There's no sound but the fire when they are done. And Jon holds tight to the words in his head, praying to his father's gods to give him strength to die bravely. It won't be long now, he thinks. Even their horses aren't going to be able to last much longer. So,
All right.
This image, man, of these two saying their fucking words.
What I think is cool about this is, and I think this is the most important part, because Jon will, when Qhorin broaches the topic of him going to the Wildlings, he panics and he's like, "You'll tell everybody, all that." Mm-hmm. That they're not who need to know.
Right.
Let Mormont find out. He's gonna die soon anyway.
Yeah.
Full spoiler.
Right.
Fucking.
Yeah. Mormont gets stabbed in the back. Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter who. The mountains bore witness, though.
The North.
The North
knows. Right.
sees what you're doing.
Jon and Qhorin know.
Jon and Qhorin.
And and that's it. Is here Qhorin is just reconstituting that. This is what we're here to do. We're here to die for this job. Nothing in our lives is too significant to give up in service of this. This is what we're here to do. And it's, with Benjen being gone, and this is my own headcanon, I don't give a fuck, but, who better to serve as, temporary first ranger than Qhorin Halfhand? And
I just saw this meme that was a list of, it was, Jon Snow, and it said father figures.
Yeah.
And just the list of, Ned Stark, Rhaegar Targaryen, Old Bear, and then Qhorin could be on there.
Yeah.
Benjen.
Well, Qhorin, they're having such a ranger moment.
Oh, absolutely.
This moment
of
fear.
This is a training moment.
The Wildlings are coming down on us. It's just us two. Let's say our vows and be ready to face death together. But a different kind of death. Jon's death, Qhorin's actual death, but Jon's death is a brother of the Night's Watch for an interim period. And then, you'll come back and you'll have to fill them in. But yeah, it's such a great fucking scene.
So next he says that he prays that his father's gods will let him die bravely.
Yeah. Again, Jon thinks there's going to be a fight.
And I think that's cool the way you said that he's going to be dying as a brother of the Night's Watch. Mm-hmm. And the North is watching. And the Wildlings are men of the North.
Right.
The North, I think, absolutely approves of, the Wildlings. And that's important that Jon lives with them and accepts them. And still maintains his brother of the Night's Watch
vows,
and everything, but
the flames.
I just that they always bring up Ned in general when the word brave is used, because of his quote that the only time you can be brave is when you're afraid.
Right.
And so this is right here.
And for Jon, what a worse fucking thing to have to do than to forsake your vows fake forsaking your vows to get information.
So Ned Stark.
And then attempt to, he's living the same
lie
that Ned is, but
pretend
doesn't know. And it's fucking beautiful symmetry. But the flames were low by the time they were done, the warmth fading, and Halfhand says that the fire will go out soon, but if the wall should ever fall, all the fires will go out. And Jon's like, okay, Boomer, I don't really know what to say to that.
Yeah, right. And just
Jon
kind of nods.
Says that he's not afraid to die, and it's only a half lie when he says it.
Yeah, and Qhorin comes at him. He says, we might not. We might live. We might escape. Or not. But that's, Jon's like, well, I'm not scared to die. And he's like, yeah, but that's not what I'm saying.
It may not be that easy. If we are taken, you must yield. And Jon's like, yield, and it's just the visible confusion meme of huh? And Jon says that they only spare oathbreakers, those who will join them, those like Mance Rayder. and you. And Jon's like, no, never. I won't. I swear it.
He commands him. What a great, like, he knows this kid. He knows him. I command you. And Jon's like, command?
Are you a man of the Night's Watch?
Yes, but...
If we are taken, you will go over to them, as the girl you captured urged. You must not balk whatever is asked of you. But in your heart, remember who? Ride with them, eat with them, fight with them, for as long as it takes. And watch. And Jon's like, watch for what? And Qhorin's like, would that I fucking knew, dog. Like, but they were digging in the milk water, as you and your wolf saw. What did they seek? Did they find it? This is what you must learn before returning to Old Bear and your brothers. Yeah. And so there you go, Jon. New mission. Your mission log was updated. Nice, you got a new main story quest.
New story quest. And Jon's like, I'll do what I must.
Yeah.
If that's what I have to do. But you'll tell them, right? Like, you'll tell them I kept my vows, right? Like, I'm not really a traitor. You'll tell them, right?
Qhorin Halfhand's eyes were lost in pools of shadows across the fire. When next I see him, I swear it. Now more wood for the fire. I want it bright and hot.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon. He's never seeing Old Bear again.
And what a way to fucking say
next
it.
Next time I see him, I'll tell him.
I'll tell him.
Like...
And he'll know by then.
Is there like some afterlife where Qhorin was like, yo, Jon was true. Jon was true to us. Like,
he was a true man. Like,
yeah,
he handled some shit. And Bear's like, nice.
Yeah, I knew it.
Nice.
I knew it. I knew that sword was well placed. Yeah, dude. It's so... fucking Qhorin Halfhand.
Damn, dude.
Abruptly, he tells Jon that there's enough wood. Now we ride.
Well, yeah, because he makes him... He made him go and collect wood. I don't think we mentioned.
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
my bad.
Yeah. He says he wants the fire bright and hot.
Oh, yeah.
And abruptly tells Jon after he's fed it enough that there's enough. Now we ride. And Jon's like,
well, back the way we came.
And so with the only the moonlight to guide them, they do. They ride. And he doesn't know what Halfhand has in mind, but perhaps it's chance. And he hopes so, because he doesn't want to play the oathbreaker, even for a good reason.
Yeah, because Qhorin does say, I want to use the fire that we just built up nice and bright to draw them and hope that they think we just kept going from there.
Yep.
And we're going the opposite direction. They'll go right past us. See ya. Goodbye.
Jon doesn't want to play the oathbreaker, even for good reason. Neither did Ned Stark, sir. Just,
Not at all.
So they come upon a narrow defile where they had watered the horses earlier that day. And they a few days earlier.
Yeah.
And they entered, following the stream to its source, a tall, twisting waterfall. But Jon immediately freaks because the waterfall is surrounded by cliffs, and he's like, "There's no way the fuck out of here. We're fucked if they come."
Right.
And so Halfhand's like, "Whatevs," and rides over ice-slick stones and vanished right under and behind the waterfall because he's a badass. And of course, there's a fucking secret waterfall path in the north.
There.
Like,
and that's actually, like we were saying, like almost that room of requirement.
Right.
Like, you need to have some kind of knowledge, which we'll get into. I think after our small council right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't even let Jon get into the super
fuck you,
dope
Jon.
ass room.
Sit out in the cold for a minute.
And we're gonna shoot over to the small council, and we will be back with you. Welcome to the Small Council, where we give you our contact methods, socials, all that cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
We also like to read write-ins. I was going too fast there. And so for those wonderful fans that like to send us messages, comment, talk, things like that, we also like to mention them. And so I just wanted to give an email that was sent in to us from our old friend Gigi. She says, "Hi, Nate and Zach. Long time since I wrote in. Almost a year. Holy shit.
Damn.
But just wanted to check back in with you both and say hello and thanks for the work you guys do in keeping up this podcast. Always love the topics and discussions you bring up. It makes for a really rich reread experience. Got a little distracted with life in quarantine, so I'm doing some catch-up on the episodes right now. Therefore, no inductee because I'm too far behind, but when I catch up, I'll definitely write them in. Hope you've been well and taking care of yourselves. Gigi." Thank you when you do get to this episode, which, is an exciting time because it's as we're wrapping up this last book, the last few chapters of the book.
Yeah.
Thanks. We appreciate you writing in. We're doing better than we were last week, and hopefully better even still next week.
Yeah.
So we hope you're well, especially with all the quarantining stuff. Hopefully it was...
We appreciate the kind words.
Yeah.
We're really glad that people enjoy listening to us just spout off stupid shit that we'd be yelling at each other while we're just hanging out anyway.
Yeah,
so,
man.
So glad you guys are part of the discussion. We also, you guys asked and sort of demanded, and Nate very quickly answered, we do have some merch available. You can grab some t-shirts on www.tpublic.com/Brotherhood Without Manners. There is a
underscore
dash in between Brotherhood
little hyphen.
Without and a little hyphen. Thank you, between Brotherhood Without and Manners, or you can just go to TeePublic, and
I'll probably be putting the link in the show notes from now on as well.
If you want to grab a shirt, we've got some of Nate's,
some good quotes,
Garrett Cold Hands thing, and Renly Rage, and just some Brotherhood Without Manners. We've also got face masks, stickers.
Yeah, on there you can get just about anything. Face masks, stickers,
there's that.
magnets.
Check that out if you guys just want to support us and maybe show us off on a t-shirt. That'd be sweet.
A way to show off to your friends that you listen to two intelligent brothers who like to bicker like bitches.
And
at
obviously,
each
you guys have noticed that our schedule has changed. We made that announcement as well, so our episodes are now Tuesdays and Fridays. Just a quick reminder to keep that in your forefront. If you want to write us in, you can do so many ways.
Email, where Gigi wrote in, is withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. I am on Twitter @mannerswithout, which is also the Instagram. Zach is on Twitter @carstark92. We have the Facebook group, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast, and our Patreon, patreon.com/ I always mix this one up, Without Manners.
Yeah.
And we love you guys. Thanks. We'll let you get back to the last John chapter of Clash of Kings.
Oh boy, here we go.
By Qhorin.
Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow? We're back. Jon Snow's chasing waterfalls, following Qhorin over ice-licked stones. So Jon enters the waterfall behind Qhorin. You're welcome.
That was magnificent.
And the cavern opens up and turns to soft sand, and behind, my favorite moment of the chapter, little ghost comes jumping through, bursts through, and shakes off.
Looking all aggravated. He was all annoyed.
I love it. And so, it's a cozy little spot in here. Like, yeah, hell yeah, Qhorin.
If you weren't being run down by wildlings, but what can you do?
And Qhorin says that when he was Jon's age, he had heard tale of some rangers that had taken shelter in these, or a ranger who had followed a shadow cat.
He said a brother.
A
brother who had, and now...
Well, he always, brother is his...
I know, but I really want to
do, brother?
No, I don't think it's quite Hulk Hogan. I was going to say... because I mentioned it before, the small council. This almost gives us, we mentioned it, I think, a couple chapters ago or episodes ago, where we don't really know when Qhorin joined,
right?
Or why, whether he was some kind of a lord or if he was, a criminal. What happened? He's saying brother about this guy when he was Jon's age. Again, 14 to 16, because I still haven't looked up how old he actually is at the moment here, but. He's an old veteran of the Night's Watch at this point. So he's been in the Night's Watch that long.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was interesting. And this is something that he heard about. I wonder if he's visited this specifically ever before.
Oh, I think so.
And because otherwise, he heard about this a long fucking time ago.
Right.
And remembered that fucking... not to...
The Ranger could be fucking Benjamin Stark. It's...
True.
Very true. It's so crazy what it could be. I think the brother thing,
Cold
too,
hands?
is mainly to... reinforced to Jon, brother, we're brothers. Your brothers, you're doing this
when
for
you
your
get
brothers.
back to your brothers,
right?
And when
yeah. It's all this brotherly Night's Watch talk. Because remember what the fuck we're here for. But he tells him that there's a way through the heart of these mountains, and we'll press on come the dawn if they haven't found us. I'll take the first watch, and he goes and settles against a wall and draws his long sword and begins to sharpen it. And so Ghost stretches out beside Jon as he takes off his wet cloak, but there's no point in stripping down to the rest because it's
too cold there, yeah.
So Jon wonders about the fire that they had left burning and if it had gone out by now, and just thinks if the wall should fall, all fires will go out.
And eventually he does fall asleep.
And with it came nightmares.
Dreams. And so I want to comment back on my previous comment about how dreams exist up here, because...
Now they're in the mythical cave.
I don't necessarily think this is just a regular dream.
The Rat King
I
is
think
giving
this
him...
is green dreams with some...
the Rat King's giving him green dreams because he grit. You know, they're fine. Well, like, in all seriousness, it's one of the secret little pool caves that Egret finds. And,
right.
is there magic to him? Feels kind of like it, but... Yeah.
So, he dreams of burning castles and dead men rising unquiet from their graves. Is he dreaming of Winterfell?
Yes.
Is he dreaming of, like, his brothers rising out of the crypts?
I don't know if it's that. I think the dead men rising is meant to, like, Othor, that type of stuff. I think could be two unrelated things.
So
I think Winterfell is burning, yes. It could be alluding to Bran and Rickon coming from the crypts.
That's what I was thinking,
but
personally.
I also think it's meant to be like, think of Othor. So, yeah, I think either it's two different things that he's seeing.
So it's that double entendre.
The White Walkers and the Whites being crazy,
as well as
Bran and Rickon emerging. But I think he absolutely is seeing Winterfell being.
I thought this one was really cool, really subtle, and just burning castles and undead rising unquiet. And so that was what I thought was the unquiet from their graves, and it just made me think of Bran and Rickon when they're coming up and out. But yeah.
So Qhorin wakes him, and they switch, and Jon keeps watch, just listening to the water. And at dawn, Halfhand had made a bunch of torches, and they lit one, and they make their way.
Yeah, they eat a couple of them horse strips.
Eat some horse strips, and Jon follows behind with the horses because they're not able to ride them.
Now, I think Jon could have learned there during his watch. Maybe he should have made a couple more torches or done something useful. Like, Qhorin's on his shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have to make it through this mountain. We have no light. I'm going to need to make some torches. That's what my ship is for.
Maybe Jon was doing something useful. He was listening to the water, and is that not the old gods maybe talking to him?
Yeah,
from what
sure,
we've heard?
Okay.
But they can. Qhorin leads the way into the dark, and Jon believes that they're losing their pursuers, as not even an eagle can see through solid stone.
Ain't no way they can follow us through here.
But when they emerge into the light hours later, the eagle was waiting for them, perched in a dead tree. The symbolism of that, I like.
And Ghost bolts after it, trying to...
But it flies away, yeah.
Yep.
Qhorin watched the eagle with his lips tensed and declared that this was a good spot to make a stand.
As good place as any, and actually better than many, because of the way that it does force a one-on-one and a conversation.
Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow? Yes. So they feed the horse. Qhorin says, let's feed the horses. They've served us well. And Jon's vows echo in his head. Now, hunting horn sounds and the braying of dogs can be heard, and Qhorin tells Jon, keep your wolf in hand. And so Jon calls Ghost over to him.
And that's when the wildlings come, what did I write here? Boiling, thank you. Mm-hmm. Boiling over the ridge with their hounds.
Not half a mile away.
14 wildlings, Jon counts.
The boiling over the hill reminds me of Tyrion's first battle. With
on the Green Fort,
near the Green Fort, when the men came boiling down over, and just similar spilling of men.
It's funny that we can get that similar effect. 14 wildlings and 8 hounds versus Tyrion's battle, thousands.
Well, right, because it's 2 versus the many.
And so 8 hounds, dogs, all armed and armored, but
shoddily.
Most of its bits that's been taken and stolen from fallen rangers. Qhorin draws his longsword.
Teaching himself to fight with his left hand after losing his right was part of his legend, and it is said he wields a blade better now than ever before. Jaime Lannister!
Fuck.
Potentially.
No, that's some cool foreshadowing, because this is Jon's last chapter. This is the last chapter we see Qhorin's last chapter, clearly. Next time we see Jon, it's going to be in the same book that Jaime's point of viewing in.
Right.
And that's cool. I just think that's a cool fucking... This guy lost his hand. This was not his main hand, and now he's a better swordsman than he ever was before.
Yeah.
So there is that potential. It's not the end of your life, and Martin just throws that in our face.
Right here.
Jaime crashes and is like, nah, my life's over. Wow.
Yeah. So Jon stood shoulder to shoulder with him and drew Longclaw. Shing! The wildlings halted below the mouth of their cave, and their leader came on alone. Both man and mount, armored in bones, cow and sheep, goats, elks, great mammoths, and some human that rattled as they approached. Rattleshirt, Qhorin called down, icy polite.
To crows I be the Lord of Bones.
That's a great Rattleshirt.
Thank you.
Qhorin snorts. I see no lord, only a dog.
Dressed in chicken bones.
There you go.
You keep leaving it out.
I know.
like
Who
that
rattles when he rides. I was leaving it in for you because I hate the chicken bones part. But the wildling hiss.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be your bones I'm rattling.
Dude, he just like fucking...
I mean, that sounds sexual. Like, I'm gonna rattle your bones.
I'm gonna rattle you.
But yeah, Qhorin basically does the rocks, like, come get some.
Come get some, and he's like, come take my bones, bitch.
That Rattleshirt seemed reluctant to do. In the close confines, the wildlings would need to come at them 2 at a time, abreast, and could easily be matched by Jon and Qhorin.
Yeah, and so one of the spear wives, I believe this one is Ragwile, starts hollering at them. You're outnumbered, crows. It's 14 of us to 2 of you. Fuck off.
8 dogs to your 1 wolf. Fight or run, you are ours. And Rattleshirt commands, show them. And so she reaches into a bloody sack and pulls out Evan's bald head by an ear.
That's 2 down that we're confirmed now.
And she says, he died bravely. She says that, which,
yeah.
like, hey.
That's, and that's something that I think is funny. That this is, some of our first interactions with the wildlings, speaking with, Ygritte.
Yeah.
And they do have this sense of honor. Yeah. He died bravely.
He fought. He fought.
And that
them.
means
Probably
that...
killed 1 or 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
and Eben... He can go down as the brother of the Night's Watch who died in his
doing
duty,
his vows,
and had earned the respect of those he fought.
Remember my last, Petunia. Holy shit. But he died, Rattleshirt says. Same like you. And he freed his battle axe. Good steel it was, with a wicked gleam to both blades. Eben was never one to neglect his weapons. Yeah. Motherfucker.
Which I think we did get mention of, that he always kept his shit sharp, too.
What a beautiful way to say he looted the fucking core. It's just so well done to phrase it like that.
The rest all kind of start jumping on board, just talking mad shit. They're going to skull fuck their dog.
Yeah, some were aimed at Jon. One young lad, younger than Jon, threatens to make Ghost into a cloak before sundown, and then another one of the spear wives whips out a tit, and she's like, "You want to suck on this, boy? Mama's milk."
Suckle of my tittle.
And yeah, it gave me a good chuckle. And Qhorin just says, "They would shame us into folly. Remember your orders." And then Rattleshirt bellows out, "Be like we need to flush the crows, feather them."
Yeah, shoot some arrows at the motherfuckers.
And Jon immediately, no, and he takes 2 quick steps forward. We yield.
And Qhorin immediately and coldly, he plays his fucking part. He's just fucking straight into it. I knew you would be a traitor. They say bastard's blood is bullshit. Or something like that.
Right. I see it is so. Run to your new masters, coward. And face reddening, reddening, Jon descended the slope to where Rattleshirt was mounted. And Rattleshirt stared at Jon through the slits in his bone fucking helmet thing. And says, "We have no need of cravens."
And Ygritte's like, "Nah, yo."
Yeah, one of the wildlings shoves off the hood and shows the red hair, and it's Ygritte, and says, "He is no craven. This is the bastard of Winterfell who spared me. Let him live." And it says, Jon's eyes met Ygritte's, and he had no words. Aww. But Rattleshirt's like, "Nah, I don't trust that shit." And above, the eagle screamed in fury.
Yeah, and then we get confirmation, and Ygritte says, "The bird hates you, Jon Snow. It was a man that you killed. Now he's an eagle. Now he's a bird."
And Jon's like, "I didn't know." And then he just says, "You said Mance would take me, and he will." And Rattleshirt's like, "Well, Mance ain't here."
Get him! And that's when Ragwile, again, is like, "Nah, dude, like, he yielded, like... Give him a shot. Let him prove himself."
Ygritte's like, let him prove himself and his prowess in his word. And Jon says, "I'll do whatever you ask." The words came hard, but Jon said them all the same. And Rattleshirt laughed. "Then kill the Halfhand, bastard."
As if he could turn snow and die.
And suddenly, Qhorin's sword was coming at him. "You must not balk, whatever is asked of you." Jon somehow got Longclaw up to deflect, and back and forth they went.
So Qhorin had no choice here. No. He, in the way that he initiated this, he had to go at Jon prepared to kill him, or else Jon would not have started off a fight. He wouldn't have.
I think Qhorin also knew he Ghost was a thing. If he needs to savagely, because Ghost needs to make it think it's aggressive. Yeah,
I honestly think that Ghost understands
I
the
think
plot,
as well,
the whole
yes.
thing.
I think Ghost knows what's happening here.
And so I think it's more that if John initiated, he's going to start with light glancing blows. Qhorin is showing him, like, no, you need to...
We need to do this.
this
we're
now.
fighting. Like, kill me. This is life or death, Back and forth they went, black cloaks swirling around them. The Halfhand seemed to rain blows from everywhere, and John's arms were starting to grow numb very quickly.
The youth's quickness versus the savage strength of the Halfhand.
Dude, this image, them in the snow, surrounded by the Wildlings, like at that
it's
mountain.
It's a fucking, like, it's just a... I just see the moonlight, like,
it's such a good, like,
there,
fantasy moment of these two brothers of the Night's Watch.
Like, it was cool. It was really cool. Like, I loved the character Halfhand in the show and everything.
I did.
But the way that this is just fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
An unbelievable scene.
And somehow Qhorin kept his feet when Ghost's teeth closed savagely around his calf, but he twisted and presented an opening. And there, John saw that the ranger was leaning away, and he leaned in and thrusted. At first, it seemed John's slash did not touch him. Then a string of red tears appeared across the red man's throat, and blood gushed out of him, and Qhorin Halfhand fell.
Yeah, John pulls Ghost off of his leg and kneels down with an arm around Ghost, like
right over Qhorin.
And I think the fact that, because I see Ghost immediately letting go as soon as John did that, and just that they're both kind of
stunned now at this.
Stunned, and because they're in that mourning, like the only time that they'll have an opportunity.
Right. Is right after to act like now. It's the battle.
Yeah,
and John sort of being like, "Oh shit, I did it."
Yeah, and then Ghost, Ghost liked Qhorin. I think, like, at least respected and everything. So
and the light faded in Qhorin's eyes as his maimed hands reached slowly up to his throat. Sharp. And then his maimed hand fell, and he was gone. He knew, John thought. He knew what they would ask of me. And it hits him like a ton of bricks. He's like, son of a... That's why he was asking
the whole
me.
Time
it notes here that while Ghost's teeth were... His muzzle was red from Qhorin's blood. Only half an inch of the edge of Longclaw was red.
That's all it took.
Because, it was so sharp.
I think that and just the fact that that's all, like, John almost missed.
Can I also point out that we literally, just a couple chapters ago, saw another attempt of someone slashing at someone who was leaning away, and Tyrion lost a chunk of his nose for it.
True, yeah.
But this Valyrian steel sword fucking...
ended it.
Yeah, like, it's... we get two similar circumstances of people who are friends, supposedly on the same side, and... one of them leaning away manages to live. The other one
doesn't.
Leaning away needs to die and wants to die and dies.
So as John's kneeling there, he immediately thinks of his friends back at, not at the wall, the fist now.
Well, some at the wall, but
yeah. Sam and Pip, Toad, Dollar's Ed, and Gren, and his brothers.
Well, he thinks has he lost them all, like he lost his brothers, Bran, Robb, Rickon.
Right.
Who was he now? What was he now?
That's fun.
Someone
commands somebody to get him up.
Rough hands pull him up, and someone asks what his name is, and Ygritte answers for him because she's already,
she's enamored.
Finishing his sentences. Mm-hmm. And Rattleshirt's still just like, nah, let's gut him. He's a warg. I don't trust him. He's a crow.
Ygritte's like, nah, he's Jon Snow. He's of Ned Stark's blood, the Lord of Winterfell. And Ragwile, the spear wife, she laughs. She's like, of course. It figures that it'd be some lord that ends up killing Halfhand.
Yeah, and a couple others are like, yo, he yielded and slew his brother. Like, he's good. And Rattleshirt's like, nah, his wolf did that. Like, it was poorly done. That kill is mine. And they're all like, yeah, because you were fucking rushing right to get it, right? And John's just like, damn.
Yeah, well, because he's like, he's a warg and a crow. Yeah. And Ygritte's like, since when is that anything?
Yeah, they don't scare
shut
us.
The fuck up.
So they argue, but Rattleshirt yields grudgingly.
Yeah, and John's like, holy shit. Like, they really are free folk. Like, they just, no, I don't give a fuck what you want. This is what we're doing. They burned Qhorin right there on the spot.
Where he'd fallen. And after, Rattleshirt claimed some charred bones while the others threw dice for his gear. Ygritte won his cloak.
Man.
John asks, do you have something?
No, just
the symbolism in that. The woman he's going to love taking the cloak of the man he had to kill.
Right, his brother.
Yeah.
Like,
So Jon asks Ygritte if they'll be returning by the Skirling Pass, and she says, no, there's nothing behind us. And the look she gives him is sad. By now, Mance is well down the Milkwater, marching on your wall. And so that's the reveal that they're done doing whatever they need to do in the Frostfangs. And Mance already...
either found it or...
So he sent a small party after these rangers.
Oh, absolutely.
And the rest of them just kept marching. Yep.
And Mance isn't a fool.
No, it's a tactical...
He picked people. He did what Mormont did. Like, he's got this little fucking elite SWAT squad of Rattleshirt and Ygritte and, like, all these capable... Ragwile's clearly this big, badass, capable bitch. Right. She's, like, the Northern Brienne.
Is Ygritte there, Jon? Is she the sort of...
Oh, sure,
not doughy-eyed, but green,
I want to say
compassionate.
With her, it's this... She has that sense of adventure that he has, but he's much more toned and lordly about it, where she's Wildling. She's young, and she wants to get out and do the fun
That's what I'm saying, like...
So yes.
she's a compassionate person. Like it may be hardened by the Wildling edge, but the Wildlings have compassion. They care about their lot, their family.
She just did for him what he did for her.
Right.
Yes,
and it's that exact reverse. Fucking 3 chapters later, of he had her at his mercy. She could have absolutely turned to Rattleshirt and been like, "Kill him now."
But she defended him.
Yeah, she defended him, and so
very cool shit.
Inductee.
Man.
For Johnny Boy's final chapter before he goes in with the Wildlings.
There's so many. All
right, Qhorin Halfhand for me.
All right.
Is your sword sharp, Jon Snow? Is one of my favorite fucking lines. And just, that man is intelligent and he's a true patriot. He's a true patriot. No, he's the epitome of the Brothers of the Night's Watch. Nice. What they were, what they should be. And he represented that here by having this lad that he sees something in, that Old Bear's seen something in, that Benjen Stark saw something in, that Tyrion Lannister saw something in, that Aemon Targaryen saw something in.
Stannis
Baratheon's going to see. Mance Rayder sees something. Tormund is going to see something.
Yeah, like all these people.
And Qhorin died for that, to get Jon where he needs to go.
Right.
And fucking A, he does it in one of the most badass scenes in the books yet. So, Qhorin Halfhand, because... we're not going to get any more chances.
I wrote down my inductee, and so it was going to the brother that told the story that Qhorin happened to hear that showed him this mountain pass. Whatever brother that was that was hunting the Shadow Cat. You know, why was he hunting that Shadow Cat, man? I don't know, but it's pretty cool, and he found this secret little fucking thing. He's like Zelda, or Link out there fucking... Yeah, he bombed the fucking wall and found the hidden passage behind the waterfall.
Fuck yeah.
And so he's just telling some stories back at camp.
So as of canon, unnamed Brother of the Night's Watch, who found the waterfall retreat in the Skirling Pass.
Yeah.
Word. I like it. I like that one a lot, actually. And of course, we get an inductee from our favorite French fry, Julian, who says, "Hello, boys. Great chapter. My thoughts to the dead partners of Halfhand and Snow. Hopefully Stone Snake made it, but I'm not confident."
I meant to look it up, but I'm a lazy
I'm enjoying the read-through by not looking ahead and just focusing on what we know. And so I can't remember. Stone Snake was not a person I was focused on caring about. Yeah.
So it's cool.
Julian, as for that, we can't spoil that for you.
Because we forget.
As for his inductee... I have many ideas, as always. I genuinely hope that one of you is going to choose Qhorin.
Zach got you, bro.
Obvious hero of the watch. So I'm not going to pick him. Damn, I hope I'm not going to regret it.
Nope.
You don't have to.
No regrets.
I am going to go in a totally different direction. Follow me. My inductee is the costume designers who made the TV show costume for the Lord of Bones. Remember how epic that thing looked? I saw it twice at the moving Game of Thrones exhibit, once in Paris and once in Northern Ireland, and so it's awesome. Kudos to them. Julian, you're also just getting an honorary inductee for going to the moving Game of Thrones exhibit twice.
In 2 different countries?
Yeah, that's fucking dope. Kudos to you as well. Have a good night, fellas. Valar Bonarius. Boner Arius.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome inductee, actually.
Thanks.
The costume designers for that. It was a sick costume. Can't disagree with that.
This chapter, man.
And so, great chapter. Thank you, Julian. We love when you write in. We appreciate it so much. And We look forward to every email you send us.
Our next chapter is the last chapter of Clash of Kings.
The next chapter is the last chapter of Clash of Kings. I have read this chapter. I have not taken my notes for it yet. I like to read it and get a feel for it, and then I can go back through and note it. So you need to send in your inductees if you have not already, because it is just it's a hell of a fucking
It's
chapter.
the last chapter of Clash. Brandon 7. So the emergence from the crypts, the death of Lewin, and the leaving of Winterfell, and a lot. Yeah, but
it's cool. It's
the final touch-in we'll get with Winterfell for a while, and so join us for that. And then after Brand 7, we're gonna have our Clash of Kings wrap-up episode to induct one inductee for the whole goddamn book, which is gonna be way harder than a Game of Thrones fucking was.
Yeah, and then we'll be discussing our schedule because we'll be taking a slight hiatus.
Very, very slight.
But it's probably going to be less even than we took between Game of Thrones and Clash.
Because who doesn't want to read fucking Storm of Swords?
Dude, fucking Storm of Swords. And we've got so many inductees already sent in. It's going to be great. So we're looking forward to it.
Brand 7 inductees, and then inductees for the whole of Clash of Kings. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Valor to Harris.
Peace.